Hi, everybody. I'm Gloria Moraga. Hey, did Kash Patel commit perjury during his confirmation hearings? I'm sharing just a little bit of the FBI director's testimony today on Capitol Hill. It was ugly. I'm Gloria Moraga, political woman. Please take a moment, if you haven't already, and subscribe to my channel. I'm setting a goal, 20,000 subs by the end of the summer. Please help me do it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, Patel testified before the House Appropriations Committee.
We want to welcome our witness, the Honorable Kash Patel, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to this subcommittee.
Patel testified before the House Appropriation Committee's Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies. Now, why would he do this? He was testifying about the FBI's fiscal year 2026 budget request. So the answer is simple. He was there because of money, the FBI's budget. And yes, again, we're talking about fiscal year 2025, 2026.
I've been looking at the president's 120-word FBI budget request, the so-called skinny, I'll call it Ozempic request.
Ozempic? The diet shot? Here's the issue. Here are the numbers. Take a look. Patel has proposed $1 billion more than his boss, Donald Trump, suggested in his budget blueprint. Now, Trump proposed a $545 million cut for the FBI. That would be about $10.2 billion for the fiscal year starting October 1st, 2025 and running through most of 2026. But Patel has proposed a $500 million increase. So Patel wants his budget for the FBI to be about $11.2 billion. That would be for next year alone. Now, those are the numbers. The verbal confrontation began when Democratic Congresswoman Madeleine Dean of Pennsylvania quoted Trump's wording in his budget blueprint.
That states that, quote, the undoing of the weaponization of the FBI is one of the administration's top priorities. The weaponization of the FBI is something that deeply concerns me. It should concern all of us. And yet, since taking office, President Trump has been on a revenge tour. He has targeted individuals, universities, law firms, with executive orders to cut them out or to make them come under his will. He has used ICE to disappear U.S. citizens without due process, and he's fully ignored a unanimous Supreme Court order, and then over the weekend wasn't sure if he was obligated to uphold the Constitution of the United States. In your book, your recent book, Government Gangsters, you include an appendix with a list of names that people have referred to as an enemies list. Now, I know you will claim it's just an appendix, not an enemies list. So let's focus on how the president sees it, on what the president calls it. And you proudly display his quote on the front cover of your book. The president calls this a brilliant roadmap, a blueprint. And I have not even raised your storied children's book, The Plot Against the King. It concerns me how many people from this blueprint have been targeted with executive orders and FBI investigations. The FBI cannot be weaponized, and under your leadership, it has been nothing but a weapon alongside the president to go after the president's perceived opponents, to stifle dissent and free speech. A few weeks ago, as we saw through a social media post that you quickly deleted, the FBI arrested a judge in Wisconsin for correctly asking ICE officials if they had a judicial warrant instead of an administrative warrant, which they did not have. Despite this judge following the law, on the morning of April the 25th, the FBI arrested the judge in an escalation of the weaponization of the FBI under your leadership. Let me be clear. A functioning democracy does not lock up judges. I am gravely concerned about the utter lack of independence of the FBI and its weaponization under your leadership. I am concerned that the president is using this book, your book, as a blueprint, as he has said. It's a blueprint for revenge. And I am concerned that your eagerness, a childlike giddiness to carry out the president's revenge tour, you've shown yourself to be unserious in your statements before you were sworn in and some after. You've shown yourself unfit to lead this important agency. I was an impeachment manager for President Trump's second impeachment. It was a sad, solemn duty. And so I wanted to ask you about that. Mr. Patel, as you and the president continue to weaponize and investigate his perceived enemies, as you follow this blueprint, when can I, a former impeachment manager, expect the FBI at my door?
So the Congresswoman asks Patel if she's going to be arrested like the judge that was arrested. Does he say, oh no, with his hat in his hand? We would never do that. No, he doesn't say that. And then he does what Trump does quite a bit. He plays the victim.
Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
you want to know what I'm doing to fix it?
That. Let me move on.
Well, you should read the book because there's no enemies list on that book.
So
there are people that violated their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people,
That's good. You
and they
gave
were
them due
rightly
process.
called out.
I'm
And
changing
you should
topics.
give that book to every one of your constituents so they can read about it.
I won't be doing that.
That's their loss.
Wah, 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 wah. Well, then the Congresswoman drops the other shoe, the big shoe. This is where it gets really juicy. Did the FBI director, the current FBI director, commit perjury during his Senate confirmation hearings for the FBI director job? The Congresswoman and others say that yes, he did, that he lied under oath. And that alleged lie involves this dude, racist, scum of the earth, anti-Semitic Stu Peters.
During your Senate confirmation hearings, you repeatedly denied having any involvement as a private citizen in the firing of FBI officials who engaged in the prosecution against January 6 insurrectionists, the violent rioters who beat and killed Capitol police officers, and whom you referred to as political prisoners. Since then, multiple whistleblowers have come forward, and we know that you likely committed perjury. At the same hearing, you claimed you were not familiar with Stu Peters, an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, despite the fact that you appeared on Mr. Peters' podcast 8 separate times. 8 times. And you claimed not to recall. Mr. Patel, my second question is, should we worry more about your memory or your veracity?
We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing perjury. Tell the American people how I broke the law and committed a felony. Have the audacity to actually put the facts forward instead of lying for political banter so you can have a 20-second donation hit.
The answer is both. I believe that
the answer is you're failing, not me.
I reclaim my time.
Go ahead.
What? How is Congresswoman Dean failing? All right, just take note. This was the great fake out. When any of the Trump minions, the MAGAs, are asked a direct question about their illegal doings or the alleged illegal doings, they always deflect. So he deflects. He says that the Congresswoman's a failure. It doesn't even make any sense. And please take a note here. Patel is one of those people who always has to have the last word, even with a member of Congress. And this is the last exchange, and Patel is just as slimy as ever.
Mr. Patel, I believe that the members of the FBI, and I know many of them, many retired, 38,000 people, as you say, it's a little less than that now, deserve the very best, deserve extraordinary independence, deserve freedom from the fears of being investigated, the freedom of coming forward to make sure they're doing their job. And I'll end with this, that I think it's interesting that in your proposal today, you find yourself at a gulf of difference between you and the president. I wonder how you will resolve that. Will you go to the president and say, we need $11.2 billion, not what you cut out of here? You're asking for more than $1 billion than the president's request. Are you going to go to the president and straighten out that gulf?
I'll do what I've always done and represent the American people, defend this country, and make sure the Constitution is always upheld and the FBI is never weaponized. Maybe you should do the same.
So you agree with the president when he says he doesn't know if he should uphold his constitutional duty?
If you want to just keep putting words in my mouth, the TV cameras are outside.
I thank you. I yield back. Again, this is an unserious moment, sadly, for the FBI. I yield back.
More so for you.
Okay, this is not over, not by any means. We have the perjury allegations, and then, of course, there is the budget issue. Trump would like nothing better than to gut the FBI or just, decimate them. Patel wants more money. Where's it going to come from? Social services. And then there is the issue of judges and possibly Congress members and other Trump enemies being arrested by the FBI, yes, illegally. I'm Gloria Moraga, political woman. I'll be keeping track of what's going on with this story and others. I post every day. I post something every day, even shorts. So please subscribe and help me get to my 20,000 subscribers. Midas Touch tries to get like 10 million. I think they're up to 10 million now, or 20 million, or God knows whatever. I just want a lousy 20,000. Please subscribe.